My name is Elaine Murray. I'm 36, a single mother doing everything I can to raise my 9-year-old son, Finn. Nothing in my life prepared me for the betrayal that exploded during my niece's 8th birthday party at my parents' suburban Minnesota house. I can still see it so clearly. Finn's choked sobs, the bruises on his small face, food smeared across his shirt, and his precious baseball cards torn to pieces and scattered across the floor. My sister and her friend laughed and called it a harmless joke. "You're overreacting," they sneered. But I knew the truth. I saw the fear in my son's eyes, the kind no child should ever feel. This wasn't innocent teasing. It was deliberate. They meant to embarrass him, to break something inside him. When the realization hit, my heart pounded in my ears. The people I had trusted were the ones hurting him. Every word they tossed at me cut deep. Years of buried resentment inside our family crashing down all at once. I stood there, shaking, knowing I couldn't keep denying what was in front of me. What kind of family does this to a child? How far would you go to shield someone you love? Stay with me as I share the betrayal that blindsided me, and how I found the strength to stand up. Have you ever had to challenge your own family to protect someone precious to you? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Raising Finn alone has been the toughest and most meaningful chapter of my life. At 36, I've worked tirelessly to build stability for us after my divorce from Gary, Finn's father, a software engineer who moved across the country when we separated. From our small Minnesota apartment, I balanced motherhood with my accounting career. Long nights lost in spreadsheets, racing to baseball games and school performances. Every exhausting moment felt worth it when I saw Finn's bright smile and heard him talk about his baseball cards, his safe place. My sister has always treated me like a rival. Her jealousy followed every achievement I earned. When I was 17, I secured a full scholarship to a prestigious university thanks to my grades and debate championships. She destroyed it by sending false accusations to the admissions office, claiming I had plagiarized. The offer vanished. I spent years buried under student loans. My mother, Beatrice, never questioned her. Instead, she celebrated my sister with a red convertible at graduation, praising her hard work while dismissing my accomplishments as insignificant. My father, Stanley, stayed quiet. That silence spoke volumes. He took my sister on special trips, while I received nothing more than a brief "good job." The favoritism never stopped stinging. In college, I met Gary and fell deeply in love. We built our dreams together, staying up late imagining the future we would create. But my sister forced her way in, appearing on our dates uninvited and slowly planting doubt in Gary's mind with syrupy concern. "She isn't ready to settle down," she would whisper. Those seeds grew. Small disagreements became explosive arguments. The foundation of our marriage cracked under her manipulation. When I confronted my parents, Beatrice brushed it aside. "She's just trying to help." Stanley said nothing, as usual. When the marriage finally fell apart, I was left to rebuild alone, while my sister faced no consequences. Finn discovered baseball cards at 6 after Gary gave him a simple starter pack. It became his world. He'd sit for hours organizing them by team, memorizing stats of legends like Kirby Puckett. His greatest treasure was a rare rookie card he saved his allowance to buy from Anita Wells at the local card shop. "Mom, this is my ticket to the big leagues," he'd say, holding it like it was gold. That card gave him confidence. It gave him joy in a world where he often felt overlooked. The imbalance in our family only grew worse. Beatrice showered my sister's children with expensive gifts, drones, gaming systems, every new gadget. Finn received secondhand books, if anything at all. When I finally earned a long-awaited promotion, my mother barely reacted. Instead, she praised my sister's brief stint in real estate. Stanley chimed in about her natural business sense, without acknowledging my achievement. It wasn't oversight. It was deliberate. A steady effort to elevate her while diminishing me. For Finn's sake, I swallowed my resentment. I convinced myself that even flawed family ties were better than none. I kept bringing him to see his grandparents and cousins, though each visit felt like stepping onto a battlefield. My sister's smug expressions. Beatrice's endless comparisons. Stanley's icy detachment. Still, Finn loved playing with his cousins, and that hope kept me trying. I believed I could absorb the cruelty and shield him from it. I was wrong. Before Hazel's birthday party, Finn and I chose a gift together. In our small living room, he carefully wrapped a baseball playset for his cousin, fumbling with tape, but beaming with pride. "She's going to love it, Mom," he said, hope shining in his eyes. I smiled, though anxiety twisted inside me. Every gathering at my parents' house meant enduring my sister, and her presence always hurt. I just wanted Finn to have one simple, happy day. But dread simmered quietly beneath my determination. I looked at the modest gift we'd managed to buy and knew my mother would compare it to whatever lavish present my sister brought. Finn, unaware, bounced with excitement, holding the box like treasure. "Can I bring my baseball cards to show everyone?" he asked, hugging the binder that held his prized collection. Those cards meant everything to him. Each one carried a piece of his happiness. I hesitated. Something deep inside urged me to say no, but his hopeful expression softened me. "All right," I said finally, trying to sound steady. "Just keep them with you." He promised he would. A few days earlier, my sister had sent a message that wouldn't leave my mind. "We've got something special planned for the party. Don't miss it." The words felt sharp, calculated. I'd overheard her whispering with Constance earlier that week, their voices low and secretive. "It'll be unforgettable," my sister had said, followed by laughter that chilled me. I told myself I was overthinking it, that she was just being dramatic. But the tension lingered like electricity in the air. The morning of the party, as we got ready to head to my parents' house, I watched Finn closely. He gently slid his binder into his backpack. "Are you sure you want to bring them?" I asked again. "Of course, Mom. My cousins will think they're awesome," he replied, grinning. I forced a smile and swallowed my worry. During the drive, Finn talked nonstop about his favorite players, his voice full of excitement, while my thoughts replayed my sister's text. The smug tone. The hidden edge. What was she planning? Why did I feel certain Finn was the target? When we arrived, my mother's backyard buzzed with laughter and children playing. Still, unease followed me. My sister showed up with Constance, both wearing self-satisfied smiles that made my stomach knot. They drifted through the crowd like they owned the place, exchanging glances that made my pulse race. My sister flipped her hair with that careless superiority, Constance trailing behind, amused. I held Finn's hand tightly as he stood beside me, his backpack secured on his shoulders. Soon he slipped away to join his cousins, smiling eagerly. The warmth shattered almost instantly. A boy his age yanked a baseball bat from his hands and shoved him aside. "You don't need this," he mocked. A younger girl laughed cruelly. "Look at his stupid backpack," she shouted, loud enough for adults nearby to glance over. Finn's shoulders sagged, but he forced a weak smile, pretending it didn't bother him. Dread pooled in my chest. I clenched my fists and searched the yard, hoping someone would intervene. My mother was across the lawn, laughing with guests. My father stood at the grill, eyes fixed on the food. Then I heard my sister's voice. She leaned toward Constance, speaking softly, but clearly enough. Her eyes flicked toward Finn. "Just wait," she murmured, a cruel smile forming. Constance lifted her phone slightly, thumb hovering near the record button. My pulse pounded. I wanted to grab Finn and leave immediately, but he was already chasing after the others, desperate to belong. I told myself not to panic. Still, every time he glanced nervously in my direction, the fear inside me grew. The teasing escalated. A boy shoved Finn to the ground while chasing a ball, then laughed as he struggled up. "You're so slow," he jeered, tossing the ball to a girl who joined in. Finn hugged his backpack tightly, searching for me with wide eyes. I stepped forward, but my sister's voice cut through the noise, sugary and poisonous. "Let them play," she said with fake sweetness. Constance propped her phone in the grass, camera aimed directly at Finn. Around us, adults chatted and ate, unaware. When I expressed concern, my mother waved me off. "They're just kids," she said lightly. My father didn't even look up. I moved closer, every muscle tense. Finn tried again to join the game. The same boy blocked him and shoved him hard. "You don't belong here." The word struck like a slap. The girl added, "Why do you even try?" Finn's cheeks flushed as he wrapped his arms around his backpack like armor. I wanted to scream, to scoop him up and run. But I hesitated, torn between letting him try to fit in and shielding him from the cruelty unfolding in front of me. Then my sister caught my gaze, her smirk spreading wider. Challenge. Constance didn't move, her phone fixed on Finn, her expression eager, waiting for the scene to escalate. Every snicker, every hushed comment tightened the knot in my stomach. Finn kept forcing a brave smile, but his eyes gave him away. I moved closer, my voice barely steady. "Finn, stay near me." He nodded, yet his cousins dragged him back into their circle. Their laughter cut like shards of glass. My sister bent toward Constance again, whispering something I couldn't catch, both of them staring directly at my son. The unease I'd felt all day solidified into certainty. Something awful was happening, and I wasn't sure I could stop it. Then a strangled scream erupted from the small tent set up in the yard, raw, terrified. It froze me for half a second before I sprinted across the lawn, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. The chatter and music blurred into a distant buzz. The tent flap hung open. Inside, beneath the dim light, Finn lay crumpled on the ground, his small body shaking. His face was blotchy and red, a dark bruise spreading across his cheek. Dirt smeared his clothes, streaked with frosting. Around him were the scattered remains of his baseball cards, ripped, bent, ground into the grass and crumbs. My knees nearly buckled as I dropped beside him, my trembling hand brushing his shoulder. "Finn, sweetheart, what happened?" I whispered, my voice breaking apart. He looked up at me, eyes swollen with tears, fear hollowing them out. "Mom, please don't say anything," he choked softly. "They'll hate me more." The words hit harder than anything else. His small fingers gripped my arm, begging me to stay quiet. I pulled him against me, his sobs muffled in my chest, each one tearing through me. The torn pieces of his collection lay everywhere, even his prized rookie card, destroyed in the dirt. The simple joy he guarded so fiercely had been crushed. But what shattered me most was his fear of being hated, of making it worse. My vision blurred with rage and grief. Before I could speak, he whispered again, trembling. "Please, Mom, don't tell. Please." This wasn't dramatics. It was survival instinct. I swallowed the scream clawing at my throat and held him tighter instead. "I'm here. You're safe," I murmured, stroking his hair. Then I heard it, a cold, mocking laugh just outside the tent. I turned. My sister stood there, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk curling her lips. Beside her, Constance held up her phone, the red recording light blinking steadily. "What a show," my sister sneered. "Didn't think he'd cry that hard." Constance giggled, angling her phone to capture every second, her eyes gleaming with cruel delight. Rage surged through me. I stood, positioning myself in front of Finn, my fists clenched so tightly they hurt. "What did you do?" I demanded, my voice low and shaking. My sister rolled her eyes. "Calm down, Elaine. It was just a game. Kids get carried away." Her words struck like a slap. Constance laughed again, still filming, their mockery blending together. Every instinct screamed at me to stop them, to protect my son, no matter what it took. "This isn't a game," I shot back. "He's hurt. His cards are ruined." Finn tugged weakly at my sleeve. "Mom, don't." "They'll just laugh more." His quiet plea stopped me cold. The fear in his voice, the terror of being humiliated again, hurt more than any insult. I knelt beside him, my heart breaking at his bruised face. "We're going home," I whispered, helping him gather the shredded remains of his beloved cards. Behind us, my sister's sing-song laughter rang out. "So dramatic," she mocked lightly. Constance's phone stayed trained on us, the red light blinking, recording every second of our humiliation. I took Finn's trembling hand and led him out of the tent. His backpack, heartbreakingly empty now, hung off his shoulders. The party carried on as though nothing had happened. My mother laughed with her friends. My father turned burgers at the grill, detached as ever. I held Finn close, fury and disbelief tangling into something dark and heavy. This wasn't harmless teasing. It was targeted, deliberate. And I knew it wouldn't end here. Anger flooded through me. With Finn's hand in mine, I marched across the yard toward my sister. She stood near the picnic tables with Constance, still basking in her cruelty. Guests chatted around them, unaware of what was about to explode. I stopped inches from her, shaking with rage. "How could you let this happen?" I demanded, my fist tight at my side. She tilted her head, contempt dripping from her expression. "You're just like Mom. A failure," she spat. I felt Finn shrink beside me, his shoulders curling inward. Something inside me snapped. Before I could think, my hand flew. The sound of the slap cracked through the air, sharp, final. Gasps rippled across the yard. Heads turned. I didn't care. My sister's head jerked sideways, her hand flying to her cheek. The smugness vanished, replaced by stunned disbelief. Constance stumbled back, phone still raised, red light blinking steadily. "You've pushed this too far," I said, my voice quieter now but unshakable. Finn clung to me, trembling, and I stood firm, meeting my sister's stare. Her composure returned quickly. A sneer twisted her mouth. "Always so dramatic," she hissed, brushing her cheek as if the slap meant nothing, though I saw it. That brief flicker of fear in her eyes. Then my mother's shrill voice cut through the murmurs. Beatrice stormed toward us, fury written across her face. "Elaine, what is wrong with you?" she shouted, drawing every gaze in the yard. Her eyes flicked to Finn, turning cold. "This is about that unwanted child again, isn't it? Always causing trouble." Each word sliced deep. Finn gasped softly, his fingers digging painfully into my hand. I pulled him close, wrapping my arms around him, my heart breaking at his terrified expression. "Don't you dare call him that," I snapped, my voice shaking but fierce. "He is my son, and he deserves better than this." For a second, my mother looked startled. Then she folded her arms tightly, hardening again. My father stayed by the grill, silent. That silence hurt as much as her cruelty. Whispers spread among the guests, but I barely registered them. All that mattered was the shaking child beside me and the fury building inside. Constance still stood there, smiling, her phone pointed at us, like we were entertainment. "Give me that video," I demanded, stepping toward her. "Or you'll regret it." Her grin faltered, but she gripped the phone tightly. My hands shook as I pulled out my own phone and started taking photos. Finn's bruised cheek, his stained shirt, the dirt on his knees. Every visible mark of what they'd done. "This is evidence," I said, locking eyes with Constance. Behind me, my sister let out a bitter laugh. "You're embarrassing yourself again," she mocked. But I was done being their victim. I crouched beside Finn, softening my voice. "We're going home, sweetheart." He nodded faintly, pale but trusting, his small hand gripping mine. We walked through the crowd, ignoring the stares and whispers. My sister's voice followed us, sharp and mocking. "Run away like you always do." I didn't turn around. In the car, I buckled Finn in. He clutched his empty backpack to his chest. The silence between us felt crushing. My heart tightened as I took more photos, each bruise, each smear, preserving everything. Then, with shaking fingers, I called my lawyer, Deborah. She answered quickly, her tone calm but alert. "Elaine, what happened?" I caught Finn's reflection in the rearview mirror. His head hung low. "They hurt him," I said, my voice cracking. "My sister and Constance. They let it happen. Maybe they planned it. I have photos. And Constance recorded everything." I swallowed hard. "I want to press charges. Assault. Emotional abuse. Everything we can." Deborah's voice sharpened with focus. "Send me everything you have." If that video exists, it could be critical. I'll begin filing immediately. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Determination settled deep inside my chest. For the first time that day, the fear began to shift into something stronger. The fear inside me slowly shifted into something steadier, resolve. I'm taking him to the doctor right now, I said firmly. They're not getting away with this. I ended the call and focused on Finn. Mom, are we going to be okay? He asked softly, almost too quiet to hear. I reached back and squeezed his small hand. We're going to be more than okay, I told him, my voice calm and certain. They're going to answer for what they did. As I drove, the glow of the party lights faded in the rearview mirror, but my determination only grew stronger. Between the photos and that recording, there would be justice. Real justice. For my son. The next morning, Beatrice showed up at my door holding a small wrapped box, her posture stiff, her usual composure cracked by guilt. Elaine, can we talk? She asked softly, offering the gift like a peace offering. I stood in the doorway, Finn tucked safely behind me, his tired eyes peeking around my side. The memory of her calling him unwanted still burned in my chest. There's nothing left to discuss, I said coldly. You already chose your side. Her eyes widened, but I closed the door before she could respond. My heart pounded, part defiance, part relief. Protecting my child mattered more than easing her conscience. Days later, everything unraveled. Constance's video had leaked, shared by a guest who'd finally grown tired of my sister's arrogance. The footage was devastating. Beatrice laughing while Finn cried. The cruelty preserved in sharp detail for the world to see. The internet erupted. The polished image Beatrice had built as a respected real estate agent shattered overnight.
Client withdraw listing.
Colleagues distanced themselves. The same community that once praised her now condemned her without mercy. Deborah acted quickly, filing a lawsuit for assault and emotional distress. The evidence, Finn's bruises, the photographs, the recording, was undeniable. Beatrice's frantic voicemails filled my inbox, thick with tears and excuses. I deleted them all without listening. Justice was already in motion. From that point on, my focus was Finn. His bruises faded, but his quietness lingered. I brought him to Dr. Larson, a gentle child psychologist who slowly helped him find his voice again. I think if I don't say anything, people will like me more, he whispered during one session. The words shattered me. I squeezed his hand and promised him he would never endure something like that again. At home, we started rebuilding piece by piece. Gary began calling every evening, giving Finn baseball advice over the phone. With each call, a spark returned to my son's eyes. Our friends Theo and Evelyn surrounded us with warmth. Theo took Finn to the batting cages, cheering every swing. Evelyn invited us to dinner, filling our apartment with laughter and the smell of home-cooked meals. One night, sitting together, Finn excitedly told Theo about a card he'd seen and wanted someday. His voice carried a brightness I hadn't heard in weeks, the sound of joy slowly returning. Watching him, my heart filled with cautious hope. Every small smile felt like a stitch repairing what had been torn. On a cool, sunny afternoon, I took him back to our neighborhood card shop, the place where his love for the game had first begun. His eyes lit up as he scanned the rows of glossy cards. Then he gasped. "Mom, can we get this one?" he asked, holding up a rookie card, excitement bubbling in his voice. I smiled and placed the money on the counter. "You've earned it," I said, gently brushing his hair back. Outside, he hugged the pack tightly to his chest, his steps lighter than they'd been in months. It felt like he had finally set down the weight he'd been carrying. Therapy with Dr. Larson continued, each session peeling back another layer of fear. "He's incredibly resilient," Dr. Larson told me once. "But your love is what anchors him." I gave him everything I had, bedtime stories, cheers from the sidelines, quiet talks when he whispered his worries in the dark. Gary even joined a session one evening, his steady presence helping rebuild the fragile connection between father and son. At a picnic Theo and Evelyn hosted, Finn chased a ball across the grass with other kids, laughter spilling out of him. Bright, free, unguarded. With each passing day, his confidence grew. His happiness no longer felt like recovery. It felt like renewal. Meanwhile, my sister's world collapsed entirely. Deborah pushed forward relentlessly. The viral video had destroyed Beatrice's standing. Her name became associated with cruelty. When she tried calling me, her voice shaking and desperate, I ended the call without hesitation. There was no room left in me for sympathy. All that mattered was Finn and the quiet, steady life we were building with people who truly cared. Weeks later, his smile came easily again. His animated chatter about baseball filled our apartment with warmth. He taped a new card to his bedroom wall and called it his fresh start. One night, I stood beside his bed, watching him sleep, the gentle rhythm of his breathing filling the room. A calm strength settled inside me. We were healing. Together. Months later, Finn stepped onto the baseball field confident and glowing. His glove fit perfectly. His stance was sure. His eyes locked on the game ahead. From the bleachers, I watched as cheers rose around him, pride swelling in my chest. He had come so far. He was no longer the trembling boy in that tent. He was strong, determined, alive with purpose. When the case finally reached its conclusion, Deborah presented the photographs and the video in court, clear proof of my sister's cruelty. The judge granted a restraining order, barring her from contacting either of us. Her reputation, already shattered, crumbled completely. The career she once flaunted dissolved into silence and isolation. I didn't feel triumph, only relief. Finn was safe. The truth had stood firm. Justice, I realized, isn't revenge. It's freedom. I blocked Beatrice's number, and eventually the calls stopped. Her voice, and the chaos that came with it, faded from our lives. The voicemails filled with hollow apologies went unheard. I owed her nothing.
Not after what she did to my child.
Blood no longer defined family for me. Family was built by those who stayed, those who showed up when everything fell apart. Gary, Evelyn, and Theo became our foundation, steady and unwavering. With their support, Finn flourished. At school, he joined the baseball team, earning his place through dedication and quiet determination. His coach praised his quick reflexes. His teammates began chanting his name with pride. On a bright afternoon, Gary pitched to him at practice, throwing ball after ball while Finn swung with growing confidence. "You've got real talent," Gary said, smiling wide. Finn's laughter carried across the field, pure and light. Moments filled with belief and encouragement helped him blossom back into himself. Evelyn baked his favorite cookies, their sweet scent filling our apartment. Theo shared stories of his own childhood games, planting new dreams in Finn's heart. At a team cookout, Finn ran freely with his friends, laughter spilling out of him without restraint. I watched from the sidelines, my chest warm with gratitude. These were the people who chose us. This was the family we were meant to have. One evening, Finn sat at the kitchen table organizing his baseball cards with careful focus. "Mom, I'm glad we have each other," he said quietly but with certainty. I knelt beside him and rested my hand on his shoulder. "Me too," I whispered. "Family is the people who protect you, the ones who lift you up." He nodded, understanding more than a child ever should. That night, when I tucked him in, he wrapped his arms tightly around my neck, a hug filled with trust and peace. I held him close, knowing we had finally stepped out of the darkness. The court's ruling had sealed our protection. The video that once captured his pain became the very proof that freed us. The weight of my mother's judgment and my sister's cruelty was gone. Beatrice's betrayal taught me something I will never forget. Family isn't about shared blood. It's about shared love. It's about the people who stay when leaving would be easier. As baseball season continued, I cheered at every game, my voice rising alongside Gary's and Theo's. Evelyn's laughter echoed from the stands as she handed out cookies to the kids. When Finn hit a double, his teammates surrounded him, their cheers ringing through the bright afternoon air. I clapped until my hands stung, smiling so wide it hurt. He wasn't a frightened boy from that tent anymore. He was strong, confident, and surrounded by love. Looking back, I saw how far we'd come. That painful day hadn't destroyed us. It had forged us into something stronger. I learned to let go of those who hurt us and to build a home with those who loved us without conditions. Finn learned that he was enough, that his worth was never tied to anyone else's approval. Together, we found our strength and created a family by choice, not obligation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the baseball field, Finn turned toward me and lifted his glove high in triumph. I waved back, my heart overflowing. Family isn't defined by blood. It's defined by the people who protect you, who believe in you, who stay. And at last, we had found ours.